have a background in sport, working with sport for people with disabilities, both as an athlete and got into the highest administration. Been able to travel all over the world. Always introduced as Alan Dean from Aurora, Ontario, Canada, when I ever went anywhere. So that's why I'm here. In 1974, I got involved in a bad accident, lost a leg, almost died. I had a lot of community support from people in Aurora, the people I work for, Collis Leather, the Aurora Soccer Club, the Aurora Legion. A teacher at St Andrews College helped me a lot, got me involved in swimming. I'm the product of a lot of support. Yeah, well, I've had an interesting and exciting life. I look back and sometimes have to pinch myself that this was me. So that's the way I am.
Alan Robert Dean was born on July 27, 1939, in Birkenhead, which is across the River Mersey from Liverpool, England. He arrived in Canada in 1965 and joined the Aurora Soccer Club and coached in the Aurora minor soccer system until 1984. He served as a member of the ASC executive until 2002, 5 of those years as president.
Where he comes from, it was a very bad time growing up in England. And over here he saw so many opportunities and he took them and he really made it, As I said, when he went in the soccer club too, he was the first, arrived and was the next week into the soccer club already, So he's always a busybody, not a sleeper,
Strongest characteristic is he wants to help people. He just wants to help people. And he's very adventurous, coming over here 50 years ago he came to Canada when he was in his 20s. And so it's a very hard thing to do. And he was married and he had a baby girl. And he left them in England while he organised everything in Canada, where he sent for them after about 3 months.
In 1974, a soccer injury resulted in him losing his leg below the knee. But after rehabilitation, he competed in the 1976 Ontario and Canadian Games for the physically disabled, winning 6 medals at the national championships. Alan's mission was to build and contribute to sports for athletes with disabilities. After almost losing his life to gangrene as a result of his soccer injury, he saw life as a gift and embraced every opportunity that came his way.
He is very helpful. He likes organising people, particularly me, and he enjoys doing it. Must be brave, take things in your stride, and overcome all your difficulties as best you can, and help other people overcome their difficulties, which is what he's done.
Alan Dean worked at the Collis Leather Factory in Aurora for 23 years until it closed, at which time he turned his attention towards sports administration. The Durham College Sports Administration program invited him to join the 2-year postgraduate program. One of his placements was at Dr. Jackson's Sports Medicine Clinic in College Park, Toronto. Dr. Jackson invited him to teach the staff about sport for people with disabilities. Alan was required to sit through some of Dr. Jackson's televised knee surgeries on injured Toronto Argonaut players. In 1976, Aurora was twinned with Leksand, Sweden. Alan was co-chair with late Councillor Norm Stewart to bring a soccer team and seniors group from Leksand to Aurora. In 1977, as a founding member, he became director of the Canadian Amputee Sports Association. From 1980 to 2005, he was either team manager or international Canadian representative for Ontario and Canada at provincial, national, and international events for athletes with disabilities at the Canadian Amputee Blind Championships, World Championships for the Disabled, Can-Am Games, 7th Australian Games, Summer and Winter Paralympic Games, World Games for the Disabled, World Wheelchair Cue Ball Championships, and the 2005 Tribute Peace Games.
I knew he was doing the Paralympic Olympics, but I didn't know to what extent he was doing it. And it's only when I came over and seen all his medals on the wall that I realised what he'd been up to. I was very proud of him. And still am.
In 1980, Alan was the Ontario delegate to the Coordination Committee that founded the Canadian Federation of Sports Organizations for the Disabled, CFSOD, now named Canadian Paralympic Committee. Alan has also been a delegate for Parasport Ontario since 1981. In 1989, Alan was the Canadian delegate at the founding meeting of the International Paralympic Committee in Dusseldorf. He was elected Vice President of the International Sports Organization for the Disabled and elected Secretary General in 1992 until 2003. His continued work resulted in the formation of the International Wheelchair and Amputee Sports Federation in 2003.
His strongest character trait is he's very persistent to follow everything through what he has in mind to do.
Alan contributed in many ways as an advocate for sports for both able-bodied athletes as well as those with disabilities behind the scenes. Right here in Aurora, Alan was a member of the Leisure Services Advisory Committee and later the Accessibility Advisory Committee during the 1990s. Alan continued to serve on the IWAS board until 2005.
His ability to help people, and he wanted to help people and to organise things for other people, because he seems to have this great ability and he cares. He's a very caring person.
Alan has been a director of Ontario Amputee and Les Autres Sports Association since 1982, and among other responsibilities, has represented the organization at the Games Council and board member of Parasport Ontario, formerly Paralympics Ontario, and Sport for Disabled Ontario. From 1982 to 1995, he was a member of the board of directors of CFSOD and Canadian Paralympic Committee. Alan finds fulfillment in inspiring other amputees to go on after the trauma of amputation by volunteering since 1987 at the West Park Hospital in gratitude for their help in his own rehabilitation. Alan shared his story and encouraged them to go on with their lives. He would often encourage patients to use sport as a positive way to move forward, helping them to deal with phantom pain and lifestyle changes.
There was years ago, there was a young man, he lost his legs, and Alan thought he was capable of going to the Paralympics, but he had no right to train to London, and it was winter, and he drove him to London because this guy should get a chance. But that's, I think, is Alan, just to show him. Drives, I don't know, 3-4 hours to the snow just to give him a chance, you know.
In the book Adapted Physical Activity, compiled by Dr. Robert Stedward, Gary D. Wheeler, and E. Jane Watkinson, published in 2003 by University of Alberta Press, Alan Dean was acknowledged for his contribution, drawing on his experience working with high-performance athletes with a disability at high-profile competitions. Alan Dean is not slowing down. In 2013, Alan was a member of the team that oversaw the formation of Parathletics Ontario, which will be responsible for the sport of athletics for all classes of athletes with disabilities in Ontario. Locally, in 2003, Alan was made an honorary life member of the ASC. In 2002, he was elected president of the Aurora Lawn Bowling Club and was the Ontario team manager at the Canadian Lawn Bowls Championship in Edmonton, Toronto, Vancouver, and North York from 2010 to 2015. In 2012, Alan was elected president of the Ontario Lawn Bowls Association and director of Bowls Canada in 2014. In 1992, Alan was awarded the Canadian 125th Anniversary Medal and the Queen's Golden Jubilee Medal in 2002. He was inducted into the Canadian Disability Hall of Fame in 2010.
He loves life, and he says, okay, something bad happened to me, but beautiful things came out of it. He said, I had so many opportunities to see the world, help people. He said, and I wouldn't change it for anything. So, he means it. That's not like just talk, you know, he really means it.
And now, we are proud to welcome Alan Dean in the Builder and Contributor category as a member of the 2015 class of inductees to the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame.
Welcome your presenting sponsor, my old next door neighbor, Michael Roy from St. Andrews College. Alan, just before you take the podium, I was given a handwritten note just before the evening started. I'll read to you. It's from your daughter, Elaine. Congratulations, Dad, for being inducted in the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. I'm so proud of you, as are Sean, Julian, and I'm sure Chris as well. We hope you take the time to celebrate your achievements and the many contributions you've made in helping others. Lots of love always, Elaine.
I've got a speech here. It's just through the introduction that's kind of long. Thank you for this honor. Mayor Doe, members of council, honored members of the hall, fellow inductees, donors and sponsors, Ron Weiss and the board of directors of the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame, Steve Kimmerer and the board of directors of Sport Aurora. Ladies and gentlemen, Sports Fans Hall, and also my friends from the Aurora Lawn Bowling Club who have joined me tonight. I'm really excited to see you all here. Thank you. My journey in sport has been kind of a little different. I arrived in Aurora 50 years ago to live and work here, raise a family, and I got involved with the Aurora Soccer Club and the local soccer scene. Everything was going along swimmingly until one day, a fateful day, August the 5th, 1974, when playing at Fleury Park in a soccer game, I got hit, my leg was broken, and 30 hours later, I was an amputee fighting for my life. Going through all that trauma, I eventually limped back into society. And I have a lot of people to thank for that. The management and staff at College Leather, where I worked, the members of the Aurora Soccer Club, the members of the Aurora Legion, and also a teacher from St. Andrews College, Gary West. Gary was instrumental in pushing me to hone my swimming skills and was allowed me to come here and swim at St. Andrews College. My association with St. Andrews College goes back a long way. In the late 60s and early 70s, I used to referee soccer games here, sometimes 3 games on a Saturday. We had a wonderful time. It was great with my friend Benny and late Cliff Lofthouse. It was just an amazing time. After my accident, I was invited to a physiotherapist seminar that attracted people with a disability that were engaged in sporting and recreation activities. I was at Mississauga, and I met people that had gone through similar experiences as myself, and most of the time, a lot more serious than me. But I did meet the late Dr. Robert Jackson, who was the noted leader in arthroscopic surgery. I was the chief medical officer of the Toronto Argonauts Football Club and head of wheelchair sports in Canada. He showed a video of a set of games from Europe for people with disabilities. Now, I was just sitting there, and this just blew me away, woke me up. I thought, wow, this is what I'm going to do. And in '76, I did compete at the Ontario Games in London. I was selected to represent Ontario. At the Canadian Games that year, Unfortunately, I didn't get selected to compete in the 1976 Toronto Olympiad for the Disabled, which was held in Etobicoke. And this was a major event. We had just witnessed the Montreal Olympics and gold medal by Red Joy, and this was a wonderful time for sport. I didn't make the Toronto Olympiad, but I was there every day, and there I met athletes, sports leaders, people I knew from Ontario, across Canada, and internationally. And there was a whole shift in society. People with disabilities were being brought into, there was barrier-free design stuff. We were involved in all kinds of programs from academia, business, anything, and sports was a big part of this. And I seen the future in this, so I was really excited. There was a flurry of activity after the Olympiad in Toronto where we were a group of us, sports leaders, medical people, got together, we formed organizations, we met with government people, we arranged funding, went out and recruited athletes. And one of the things that became very apparent in sport at that time for people with disabilities was there were too many classifications. So there was too many events and too few athletes. And at the World Championship Games in Gothenburg in 1986, there was a new classification system introduced called the International Classification for People with Disabilities. And this was based on function. So it allowed people in wheelchairs from different disability groups to compete in track and field, in the pool. And that system still exists today, and it's being fine-tuned even so many years later. It was absolutely an amazing thing. In 1989, I got elected to the board of directors of the International Sports Organization for the Disabled. This opened up so many doors and so many opportunities that I was able to travel all over the world for competitions, for meetings, for seminars. I got to meet very many talented and influential people, made so many memories, presented medals at the 2000 Paralympic Games in Sydney and 2004 in Athens. And I was an international delegate at the 1994 Winter Paralympics in Lillehammer, and as you notice in the video, the World Cue Ball Championships in Taipei. So it's been an absolutely amazing experience for me. And if I'd have thought this would have happened to me 40 years ago, I would have said, no chance. And sometimes I really have to pinch myself, particularly if I'm looking at old reports of meetings or articles and things I've done. It's been truly amazing. And we all know that life will throw us some tough challenges. But often when we look at challenge, there's opportunity. And I've been very, very fortunate in my life to take advantage of this, and I've been extremely lucky. I still keep involved in sport for people with disabilities. I still work at the West Park Hospital. I talk to patients on a regular basis. And I found a new sport. It's lawn bowling, which I enjoy very, very much. We have some great people. We have in town, we have a fantastic facility. Absolutely amazing. The town does a wonderful job for us. In my involvement in lawn bowling, I've sort of honed my way into the, I spent 2 years as president of the Ontario Lawn Bowls Association, and now on the national committee that it seems to just follow me around. So I'd say, again, I've had a wonderful journey in sport. I've loved every minute of it. I just look back and say, boy, have I ever been so lucky. I'd like to thank the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame for this honor. I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees, Mark, Ken, and Lowell. One of the things I did do in my life, I did a TV interview on Iranian television, which was kind of interesting, not exactly the same as Lowell with his Sport Speed Aurora, but it was kind of different and something I'll always remember. In closing, 20 months ago, my family and I suffered a real tragedy. We lost my grandson to a tragic accident. So I'd just like to say, Christopher, this is for you. Thank you all very much.
Congratulations, Alan. We officially present 2015 inductee Alan Dean.